Welcome. My name is Professor Wolfgang Hoppen-Schweinenberger, and today we'll be describing the mathematical principles of Wokeism. Wokeism is a description of insanity prevalent in modern politics, academia, media, and in language generally. For example, mathematics has already been described as racist and white supremacist, indicating extremely high toxic levels of wokeism. Wokeism is most effectively cultivated within the academic community. If you wish to try to understand the obnoxious precepts that form the basis of wokeism, one of the most important formulas you need to remember is this one. Intellectually inadequate student X plus obscenely irrelevant academic course C. You multiply this by Marxist faculty M plus crippling debt D, and that equals Wokeist squared. Now, interestingly enough, you can do many more exciting things with this formula and its products, which will help give greater understanding to the craziness in the world around us. And if we take this value here and we apply the square root, we get the primary factor of all Wokeist behavior exhibited in nature. Every single incidence of wokeism which you observe in the world around you is a multiple of this value. But this value also has a direct proportional relationship to hypocrisy. Let me explain. As I'm sure many of you are already aware, hypocrisy equals privilege multiplied by smugness squared. But how do we create a proportional relationship between hypocrisy and wokeism? With the introduction of intolerance. Intolerance equals wokeism divided by hypocrisy. So therefore, we can create a relationship triangle. Wokeism equals intolerance multiplied by hypocrisy, and hypocrisy equals wokeism divided by intolerance. There are, of course, many more exciting and enjoyable connections you can make within the mathematical principles of wokeism, but I shan't bore you with them all today. But for those who have been emailing me asking, where's your accent from? I will say mainly Germany, but I have moved around Europe an awful lot, so that would explain any other accents you might detect. Good day. Welcome. My name is Professor Wolfgang Hoppen-Schweinenberger, and today we will be continuing with our exploration of the mathematical principles behind Wokeist philosophy. Now, although Wokeism is a measurable quality in itself, there are many more extraordinary connections we can make using mathematical notation that are intrinsically related to this quality. Let me explain. If we take the intellectually inadequate student from our original formula X, then we minus F, free speech, and then we multiply this by C, vacuous curriculum, plus H, hypersensitivity squared. Then we get S, safe spaces. Safe spaces is a uniquely strange phenomenon occurring primarily in schools, so it has spread to some workplaces. It defies the laws of reality by pretending the world is not the way the world really is. But if you take this variable S, safe spaces, you can do some other really interesting, nice mathematical things. If we take safe spaces S and we multiply by deplatforming P equals K, snowflakery, minus T, well-established truths. Then we can take either side of this equilibrium, we'll take the S by P, and then we cube the answer. That will equal U, an extremely unsafe space for the rest of us. Now many of you are quite possibly experiencing the reality of this phenomena as we speak. However, let us at least take a little bit of joy in the mathematics behind the mayhem. Once we have this variable U, an unsafe environment for the rest of us, you can divide by W, wokeism, and it will equal V, violence. Which of course means if you multiply wokeism by violence, you will get the same unsafe space for the rest of us. Of course, it seems so obvious when we think about it, but there is a reason why so many miss this simple connection, and it can be explained very accurately by our next equation. So if we take W, wokeism, and we minus R, rational thought, then we are left with D, delusion. Ironically, of course, all rational thought involved in wokeism is always a negative value. So it is wokeism minus rational thought equals delusion. This two here can become a plus, meaning also that wokeism plus rational thought equals delusion. Or if you ever try to apply rational thought to wokist philosophy, you are always in delusion. So, if you minus rational thought from wokeism, you end up with inescapable delusion, because you are robbed of the logical and rational faculties required to escape your delusional fantasy. Whereas, also, if you add rational thought to your wokeism, you justify it, enforcing your delusion with a flimsy rational fortification, which of course means, as wokeism minus rational thought equals delusion, and wokeism plus rational thought equals delusion, then wokeism must equal delusion. And please do not be surprised if the mathematical principles of wokeism seem ridiculous and illogical. It perfectly mirrors the general presentation of wokeism, which itself, of course, only exists in the ridiculous and the illogical. Good day. Welcome, my name is Wolfgang Hoppenschweinenberger, and today we will be taking a little peek at the mathematical principles behind student activism. It's a wonderful way of spending the afternoon. Let's take a look. If we take the beginning of our formula for wokeism, that is X, intellectually inadequate student, plus C, obscenely irrelevant academic course, but this time we multiply it by E, inflated ego, minus O, meaningful job opportunities. Then we end up with A, student activist. The lack of meaningful job opportunities, O, is in direct relation to the number of applicants for the obscenely irrelevant academic course. You see, if the course you are studying teaches you nothing of value, then you have no value to add. In fact, if we just multiply X by C, we get N, no job. And then, if we multiply this by Y, academic outlook, plus B, government benefits, then we get A again. But this time we get the adult activist. And because it's actually the same, we can just say A is an identity to A. Activist, student, activist, adult. It's the same thing. So if we take the A, the activist, and we multiply by wokeism divided by hypocrisy, which if you watch the other lectures, you know equals intolerance. So you multiply activism by intolerance, and it equals violence minus the square root of decency, D. Which of course means you must have a very high level of moral decency to prevent your activism multiplied by intolerance from becoming violence. Now, if you want to work out the decency level, hold on for a moment, then you must do this. Decency, D, equals attention to global issues, G, plus attention to local issues, L, cubed. Now, this means, of course, that if you are solely focused on global issues and not on local issues, you will have a far lower moral decency value. When we talk about being interested in local issues, we mean one's personal behavior and how they actually treat people around them. When we talk about global issues, we are only referring to what people profess they believe in. But what is the point of saying to everyone, you must treat the world with love and kindness, when you treat people around you like dirt? So, if people concentrate the bulk of their attention on their personal behavior, then there is a good chance that the decency squared value will be high enough to turn the violence value into a negative, and therefore prevent it from becoming manifest. Now, of course, there is nothing inherently negative about activism. Without activism, we would not have the great scientific breakthroughs that we have throughout history. However, When the X value and the C value are positive, we then get intellectually adequate student plus a relevant academic course. And this will mean that the A is a positive value also. This is the kind of activism where the activist embodies the behavior that they demand in others. The wonder of mathematics. Good day. That was the video, and if you'd be kind enough to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, it would be much appreciated.